Bona tarda a tothom.
Hello, good afternoon to one and all. Welcome to this online conference entitled Educational Communities, Nature and Technology. Learning experiences in electronic henhouses and greenhouses. At Fundesplai, we have been working for a long time on overcoming social and climate challenges. And to do this, we organize several initiatives. For example, the exhibition What You Eat Has an Impact that you can see in our headquarters at El Prat de Llobregat. We also organize educational activities for schools and also presentations. Before giving the floor to Axel, we're going to show you a video so you could get to know this exhibition that we are organizing. The way you eat can change the world. Eat, act, impact. And we invite you all to this exhibition at our headquarters. And now I would like to explain today's presentation that's within the Eat Life project from the EU Life program. And the Eat Life project has the goal of meeting the objectives of From the Farm to the Table, that is to reduce the carbon footprint of food, reduce food waste, and increase food health and availability. In short, to guarantee a fair and healthy and sustainable food system. And with regard to this European program, it's very important to assess this activity once it's completed. In fact, when you join this webinar, there's a section with the questionnaires, with the survey in Spanish, Catalan, and English. And you can also send us questions, and you can write them at the end of this session as well. And for the Q&A, use please the Q&A icon at the bottom of the screen. There you can write all your questions. And at Fundesplai, we are very happy to have today with us Áxel Pena, co-founder of voluta.coop, that carries out different projects for the revitalization of the territory with three main goals. Firstly, to gain the connection with nature of the population and also to help bridge the digital gap. And the goal of Fundesplai is to connect people with nature because nature is so strongly related to health. So without further ado, Axel, the floor is yours.
Gracias.
Thank you and good afternoon, Cristina. Thank you for this invitation.
Vale, tenemos ya la presentación en pantalla. Perfecto. A ver. Vale, veo que cambia correctamente.
All right.
Muy bien. Pues,
Before explaining our projects, I'd like to start telling you about the beginnings of Voluta. This is a cooperative, a social work cooperative in our region. You can create a cooperative with just 2 people, and my partner, Javier, and myself come from the technology industry in the Valencia region. And I was directing the Smart Cities project for a large company in a specific territory. And this meant directing projects for the control of water utilities and other utilities. And my partner was in a company in the R&D area of a company that developed appliances, home appliances. So neither of us felt very happy in our jobs. And then the lockdown arrived, and we were in small flats with no garden. And we had in common the passion for nature and the rural territory. And we decided to leave our jobs, and we decided to start working with hens, with chickens. It may seem very random as a topic, but there was a key aspect to this, because chickens are part of the rural area, and they give you this wonderful price, that's eggs, and it's easier to work with chickens than it is to work with the fields. And we decided to explore chickens and to see their biodiversity, because there are many endangered species here in Spain. And to work with hens, we needed our hens to have a house, a hen house. And this hen house had to be different so that the project could have an impact and be successful. And I started designing this hen house that you can see on the slide, and it's called the Rorban hen house. And my partner started to develop all the software and hardware with different aspects that take into account the temperature, the ambient temperature, the humidity, the CO2 concentration. This was very interesting, and the noise, everything, all these aspects. And in this case, the hen house has a very innovative design, because 50% of it is made with recycled materials. You can build it without using any tools, and is accessible for people in wheelchairs and for children from the age of 5. And the most interesting thing is that its design can be built on site. You just arrive at a place with the materials, with our tools and with our knowledge, and you can build this hen house within the community. And it's an experience, the experience of building something together. And the kit for building the hen house is very simple, and we can open and close the door for the hens so that the hens can be free during the day and protected during the night from any predators. And we have, for example, information on the number of eggs. All this data is sent to a Telegram group where the community members are. And building the hen house creates the community, and thanks to smartphones and Telegram, the kit is connected to the Telegram group, to the Telegram community group, and in this way, the different tasks can be assigned, for example, the collection of eggs or feeding the chickens. So this is the goal of having this type of urban hen house. At first, we thought we could sell it as a product for residential areas, but we didn't sell anything. But during the learning process, we realized that we had learned a lot about circular economy, participative economy, and then we decided that we could use it as an educational resource to revitalize the rural territory. And it refers, for example, to very important aspects of circular economy, such as recycled and reused materials, the reduction of food waste, and the importance of being able to repair the hen house by oneself, and that means it can last very long. And we also have regenerative and regenerative agriculture and permaculture. All of these aspects were very typical in the past in traditional agriculture. And what we're doing is combining these traditional aspects included in circular economy with these technology components. And we have, for example, these hen houses built in a site where they employ people that are at risk of exclusion. And as I mentioned before, it's accessible to all types of population, and it promotes an intergeneration relationship between young people and older people. Young people can teach many things to older people in this process, and the other way around. And in this way, we also promote educational innovation projects, and we've realized that the world needs to fight against the lack of population, the loss of population in the rural areas. And it's important for young people to feel rooted to the rural areas so that they understand that there are many other activities to be conducted in rural areas, not just agriculture. And it's a very feasible option to be implemented in the rural area. And e-commerce makes it even easier. And we also have as a goal to bridge the digital gap, particularly in girls, because there is a large demand of employment in rural areas, and we see that girls, young girls, women can have access also to these jobs. And in general, women do show an interest, a natural interest on the social and environmental impact. And there is always this discussion about whether men or women should be occupying certain jobs in rural areas. But with this type of project, we are also opening up the possibility for women to come to the rural areas. And if we want technology to have a positive impact in general,
por el impacto
it's
social y ambiental. A los chicos esto les
important
ha gustado. A
to
nosotros nos ha
take
gustado mucho
into
y queremos
account all
y por
genders.
último,
And there's,
la conexión
of
con la
course,
naturaleza.
this idea of
Tenemos que
the
ir paso a paso, porque nosotros vamos
connection
un poco
with nature.
cuando no tenemos los pies en la tierra. Y además es que esa
And
falta de conexión con la naturaleza, nosotros
we believe that the
nuestras
lack
vidas,
of
aparte
connection
de
with
esos grandes
nature
problemas que tenemos a nivel
is
mundial,
the
por
reason
tener
for the
tierra, mar y aire,
pollution of the air,
pérdida,
of the
pérdida de la
earth, and
pérdida
of
de
the oceans,
biodiversidad,
of the
cambio
climate
climático,
change, and
pobreza,
of
¿verdad?
the
Pues
demography
también lo es.
challenge.
Eh,
Not being
esta
in
conexión con la
connection
naturaleza
with
nos hace no
nature
percibir esos
means
ritmos
that we
y esos
forget
movimientos
about the
y
pace of
seguramente
nature.
estará contribuyendo
And
a que nos
that's
estemos comportando de
leading
manera
human beings to
no solo desde
behave
el
in
punto
the
de vista
way they
ambiental,
behave.
sino de
And we
realmente
should
preocuparnos más por
be
los demás.
more in connection
Lo
with
dicho, Cristina,
nature.
lo dicho, Cristina, yo paso diapositiva y si lo que ahora voy a decir no concuerda, avísame.
Let me show you now one of the projects that we have developed. This was a 2-day workshop in Medina del Campo in Valladolid. This was requested by the City Council and it was sponsored by the food company Bimbo, and we organized this workshop on circular economy and technology, and they built a hen house. And there's this constructivist approach. We just solve their doubts, but they have to build it themselves. We believe that the learning process takes place when the children participate and create things. And in this way, they learn soft skills, cooperation, communication, and others. And we did do a satisfaction survey at the end of the workshop, and we had a really high score, and they wrote comments such as, "It's been the best day in my life." And this has an environmental impact for the future. We're afraid that we're not receiving the sound right. So the children did learn a lot through the workshop.
Esto otro fue en
This is another project in Segovia,
que organiza anualmente
and it's organized by the Cotec Foundation.
De la Casa Real. Y aquí pues
Here
un
we
de cómo funcionaba el gallinero rural.
showed how this rural hen house works.
Y también hicimos juegos de mesa y talleres
We're afraid that we have lost the sound.
de sartinero con elementos naturales, pues,
And we
con hojas, con
covered the hen house with different materials. And we don't just focus on the STEM areas, but on how important it is to protect the territory and how important it is to create a community and to protect your community.
Esto es rural.
This is an intensive rural workshop, and the first edition took place last year, and we'll have the second edition in April this year. The second one will take place in Vilafranca.
Planteamos
And we set some rural challenges for this Generation Z, and it had to do with technology. And we called it hackathon, and this means check and ton, from checkmate and marathon. Axel, I'm afraid that we cannot hear you very well. I think you're having problems with your connection.
Entonces, bueno, Si alguna cosa después
So if
no queda
anything
clara o
is
lo que sea,
not clear enough, maybe we can clarify it during the Q&A. We can see the video, right? But your connection seems to be faltering and we cannot hear you well all the time. No problem.
No, tranquilo. También me comentan
And we
si puedes hablar un
would
poco más
ask you
despacio,
as
porque
well
eso
to
también ayude un poco
speak
si alguna vez
more
hay algún
slowly,
problema
because
de
as a
conexión,
connection problem,
pues
maybe that could
también se pueda
help
entender un poco más.
make it more understandable. Thank you. Okay, thank you for your feedback.
Gracias.
This is a public-private cooperation with SMEs, associations, public administrations, and the academic world. And we have involved also the Castellón Jaume I University. This is an event that has as a goal to diversify economic opportunities in the rural area, where there are more options other than agriculture and tourism.
Vale, y en
On this
repercusión mediática que hemos tenido.
Slide, you can see some of the awards we have received.
Entre ellos, empresa destacada por sus buenas prácticas.
For example, the Cooperative Confederation gave us the prize to the Best Entrepreneur Project. We also received another award as entrepreneurs, and we were interviewed by the Catalan television in a project with the Rovira i Virgili University. Usually at a workshop, people are used to a standard lecture, whereas we arrive there with our materials and our hands, and they have to build a hen house. Some of the people in the audience have never seen a hen, so it's a huge surprise.
Aquí nada, pues explicaros un poco.
Here we are explaining our social and environmental impact. We have 4 points in our manifesto with the active participation of women, the defense of free software and hardware, because there are too many problems in the world for us to not share knowledge. We should all be sharing knowledge, because very often you have one problem that's being researched by many companies at the same time. Axel, I'm afraid that the slides are not moving in the right pace. We're just seeing
Vale, ahora sí lo veis.
a slide that's referring to the Z generation and technology. So you cannot see the slides? No, I'm afraid it's not working.
Pues ahora, no sé si...
Avanzando vosotros si podéis, porfa, hasta la de impacto.
We should move forward to the social and environmental impact slide. We can now see the TV report, and now we are on the social and environmental impact slide. All right, thank you. How do we do this? We try and have technology reconnect people with nature. So in this way, we also promote the generation renovation in the primary sector, and we overcome barriers and create digital communities through the Telegram groups, and we open up our knowledge to the community so other people can continue with this movement.
Vale, ahora sí que se pasa. Continúo. sino
Now, here you can
esto es
see
la guía didáctica
the
del gallinero
educational
solidarias.
guide
Como he
for
dicho,
the
pues,
Solidarity
los objetivos, las
Chickens
competencias,
guideline
sistema de evaluación
with
y,
different
bueno,
sections.
importante
This
no lo veis
is
ahora porque
very
nos falta
important. In fact, it's a very important document.
y esto pues las fichas
Here
de
we
gallina
have
para
some
las gallinas
exercises,
para
educational
las actividades
exercises
que
for
tenemos,
schools, for
las
our
diferentes
workshops,
participantes
where
competencias y las diferentes
different
asignaturas.
subjects and skills are developed with
Tipos de
puzzles,
puzzles, relacionados.
linking exercises, and others. Now,
Aquí, pues,
this is something new.
como el gallinero
How the
muestra
hen
interés en
house
introducir en algunos
is
centros
introduced in some schools, because for some schools it's not so easy to have a hen house in their premises. So we decided to create something that was easier to use and maintain. And it's a new project. It's called Digital Seeds. It's an educational project as well for schools regarding the use of traditional seeds to protect the biodiversity of the territory. There is a seed catalog with a seed bed and some educational materials with training videos on YouTube, with a certificate of achievement and access to a network, a national network of seed catalogs and a kit with sensors. Everything comes in one parcel so that this activity can be developed. This one here. What is the goal of these digital seeds? Well, it's a practical and significant project, educational project to develop the STEM skills using traditional seeds. Some of them are being lost today, and therefore we can recover them, and we offer educational materials to the school, and we can strengthen in this way the school community, and we can create a national network of seed beds, electronic seed beds. This is the landing page and the QR. Maybe we can also have a look at the website. After buying this pack, if you recommend this pack to 5 other schools, then you recover 50 euros from the 250 euros. So it's 50 euros you recover for each recommendation. The idea is to have a viral club so that we can have 400 schools in this network of digital seeds with e-seed beds. You can contact us via WhatsApp, or you can also request our leaflet with more information. And that's all. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much, Axel. Thank you for keeping to the allocated time. Sometimes it's not easy. So thank you. Thank you very much. I'm afraid that we haven't been able to follow some of the things you explained because the connection was quite faulty. But if there are any questions or doubts, the participants can now ask their questions through the Q&A icon at the bottom of the screen. We already have several questions for you. From a legal perspective, can anybody have a hen house and chickens at home? That's the first question.
Sí, sí,
Yes? in large municipalities, in some cities, for example, in Valencia, it is forbidden to have it in the city. The city council in Valencia does forbid it for urban areas, but not for non-urban areas. I don't know whether it will be allowed in Barcelona. And for less than 30 chickens, it's self-consumption. There may be some regions that may be stricter and may require an administrative process, and maybe they just have to pay a small fee of 20 euros and also submit a report, and we can help with that. So almost everybody can have a hen house at home, although it is more difficult in the cities. Thank you for your answer. There's another question about the educational skills that you develop with the e-seed project you've just explained. Well, the methodology is that of learning through projects. It's a constructivist type of learning. We develop soft skills, communication, and also constructive skills. We are not teachers. We work with teachers when we develop our educational resources. And I don't have the document here, but it's a project-based type of learning. This means that you can include every subject in this type of project. For example, maths, you can ask, how many eggs do you get per month? How much does each egg cost? Also, we have a beautiful workshop on the decoration of hen houses. This means that you can develop all types of skills, all type of educational skills. And we also have some educational materials developed. Thank you. There's another question about whether you're thinking of applying this same model to other animal species. Well, we haven't thought about it. Well, for us, chickens were just perfect because chickens are not too big and they're not wild animals, but they're quite independent. So we haven't thought of using other animals, but any suggestions are welcome. There's another question about the advantages of using intergenerational projects to reconnect with nature. Well, as I said before, reconnecting with nature helps with our mental health. There are studies that prove that being in nature helps us deal better with stress, and the lack of connection with nature is leading human beings to behave in the way we're behaving. And we have to remember that we're animals and we need to be in contact with nature, and sometimes we forget about that and we ill-treat nature. So it's a question of mental health and of enjoying yourself and of being aware of the impact that we have on nature. Because when you observe nature, you can observe its cycles and limits. That's wonderful. I have another question regarding this intergenerational dimension and this TV interview on the Catalan television on TV3. I would like to ask you, how do children feel when they are involved in these projects? Because in the videos, they did seem very happy. I understand that this is something very new to them. This is not something they usually do in the classroom. What's your feeling when you work with them? Well, it's amazing, particularly for those who've never seen a hen before. At first, they're afraid they will peck them, and they're afraid of touching them, but they also want to touch them. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see, particularly in children who've never been in contact with animals, and they ask questions that may seem so obvious. Some children are not aware that the eggs come from the chicken's bums. They think that they are made in factories. It seems impossible, but they do ask you things like that. They're really disconnected and they love it. They really do love it because it's something very, very new for many of them. And when you're surprised by something, you learn that something much better, much quickly.
También veo que preguntan, sí, que antes no se escuchaba bien.
And this seed catalog and seedbed is only addressed to schools? No, no, no. In fact, the idea is to create a national network also with foundations and associations such as your foundation, and the educational materials will be for the schools. And I also think, however, that it's a beautiful gift for someone who loves plants or who wants to learn about technology. So I believe that it's good for everybody. That's perfect. You also have a website. I think it's available on the chat, so you can have a look at that as well. There's a question about the way you cooperate with farmers. Well, we are going to be working with seed banks, and each region has its own seed bank. This is what we are going to do. And this project has as a goal that each school, foundation, association, or person has their own seed bed, and then the plants can be distributed among the community. I don't know, neighbors, family. And these people will be cultivating the plants, because what happens at the schools is that the project dies when the holidays arrive. So we want the plants to be cultivated throughout the school year, and then all the seeds from those plants can come back after the holidays to the school, so that school can become a seed bank. And in this way, we can preserve the traditional seed varieties. And within this community, we could also have farmers. Wonderful, thank you. There is another question about how you monitor the health of chickens. What do you mean by that? So how do you monitor their health in general? I guess the question is. Well, in the last hen houses we built, we included a webcam that turns, and you can see the chickens on your mobile phone screen, but we don't control their vital signs. We do control the level of feed and water and the interaction with the user, because every time you open the lid, there is a record of that. It's quite complete, and all of that is in a Telegram group. All that data, all that information is available in a Telegram group. So that means that you can share the activity, you can enjoy the activity remotely through your mobile phone and you can distribute the task among the other members of the community. Someone is in charge of collecting the eggs on certain days, then someone else, and so on. And that's how it works in general, because we know how social media are very often damaging for human relationships, and our idea is to create communities through technology to be able to reconnect with nature so that there is a better access for future generations.
Perfecto, sí, no, es que además también,
Thank you.
bueno, de hecho, estaba pensando
I
también en la
was
pregunta que te
thinking
hice antes
about the question I asked before about the children's reactions to your project, because some children, as you mentioned, have never seen chicken before.
También es verdad que el hecho
And also
estar tan
the fact that they're always using their mobile phones means that they can lose some perspective, but it's good for them to connect with nature, apart from this generational change that you also mentioned in your presentation.
También, bueno, y de hecho todo el tema del
And having this Telegram group is also a very good solution.
¿no? También.
Yes, because in that way you keep the group alive. And all the news is received by everybody, and that's very good. And this can be applicable to the hen house, to the e-seed bed. And we have a European project that we perform in the Ebra area with the Rovira y Virgili University. And before the workshop, we show them the electronics of the hen house. And in this way, we show the hardware of this hen house. It's something that we also do with the e-seed beds.
Genial. También veo que hay alguna persona,
I think
que se llama Albert, sí que
someone has raised their hands, but I don't know whether there's a question or not. Well, if there are any further questions, please do use the Q&A tool at the bottom of your screen. Could you explain how do you think these projects contribute to promote sustainable food in children and young people and in general? Well, it's through this connection with nature, because they can see, for instance, all the different seasons and all the nature cycles, and how it's not appropriate to eat food that's not seasonal. It's important for them to understand the cycles of nature. And it's also key to understand where food comes from and the work that farmers do. That's absolutely key.
Perfecto. También volviendo al tema del semillero,
there's a question about the sensors used in the e-seed beds. Well, we are measuring the temperature, the air humidity, and the light, the sunlight. And in terms of humidity, it's the earth humidity. So it's temperature, earth humidity, and sunlight. It's important to know the earth humidity to know when the plants need to be watered. In this way, you receive a notice in the Telegram group when the levels, the water levels are not right, and that is a reminder so that the plants don't die and they're watered properly. I think that's a wonderful idea. I think it would be really useful for many of us, of course. And in this way, we can create an educational community and an inter-community. So you have your own Telegram group where you're receiving messages referring to what's happening in your own hen house or seed box. And then you have this inter-community to share the experience of your own community with other communities. And this is very much aligned with the new learning skills that are being promoted at a national level. And the idea is to have 400 schools involved in this e-seedbed project this year. It's a wonderful idea. We wish you a great success, and it's wonderful to be able to have that inter-community, to be able to get all the results and to see what is the outcome. Yes, of course. And remember that when you buy the e-seed bed, you pay 250 euros. You receive an email with the instructions, and you can share that email with others. And if you bring 5 people, then that e-seed bed will be free for you because it's 50 euros for each new person that you bring. That's wonderful. That's a wonderful idea. Well, that's great. And as we'll have this video available on our YouTube channel, everybody will be able to have access to this information. And it's also wonderful that you have this goal of creating a network and having all the schools sharing their experiences. Yes, because you receive a first email when you purchase the e-seed bed, and you invite people through that email to join the Telegram community. And in this way, we are trying to help people be part of the community, and we also look at all the territories to see which are the territories that are not involved in the project, and those who bring more members to the community will have this project for free. Wonderful. Thank you very much. We have 3 more questions about the digital part of the hen house. What's the age of children you work with, and what are the challenges you find in terms of technology and children? This activity is for all ages. Of course, if it's primary school children, the STEM activities will be simpler, but they love to build the hen house, and those who are in secondary education who are more involved and concerned with the STEM skills can develop them further, but it's addressed to all ages. I mean, of course, you cannot have kindergarten children building the hen house, and so we help them. They cannot do it by themselves, but for primary school children and secondary school children, it's a very good project. We are not working yet with any vocational training schools, but that is our plan. And we could also, for example, have as a goal the design of a new type of hen house.
Que es verdad que la edad
All right.
se me estaba haciendo gracia, pero estaba
I'm
leyendo
reading
algunas
here
de las
some
preguntas y también
of
había una que era como si
the
pudierais lanzar un deseo al
questions,
desarrollo de vuestros
and one of
proyectos,
them
¿cuál sería?
is, what are your wishes for the future?
Del
What do you wish
deseo,
for the
pero
future?
también
And then
el resto de
there's
la pregunta. Te preguntaba
another
el tema de las edades,
question.
bueno, a partir de qué
Yes,
edad
it
tenéis
was
voluntarios, cuáles
about
son los
the
mayores
age.
retos que os habéis
So
encontrado
you work
trabajando
with
con niños
children
pequeños,
from
con
which
relación a la
age, and
tecnología.
what are the challenges with children and technology? Well, the challenges are mainly logistic. The schedule, the timetables of the teachers, or not having all the materials available at the school, or having trouble with the Wi-Fi. But working with the children is absolutely wonderful. There are no challenges with the children. We've never had any problems with the children. Sometimes you have children who are not listening, but that's really normal, isn't it?
Vale, genial. Vale, veo que
We have
sale
some more
alguna
questions
pregunta
here.
más.
Lorena is
Lorena nos pregunta,
asking
¿crees que
whether
las nuevas
new
tecnologías
technologies
revolucionarán
will
el sector primario?
revolutionize
¿Pueden
the primary
tecnologías
sector?
similares
And
mejorar el
can we
bienestar de
use
los
technologies
animales?
to improve animal welfare? I don't know whether we will have a revolution of the primary sector. That's not our goal. Our goal is the generational change, the generational replacement, so that technology makes the rural territory more appealing to the younger generations. For example, we had this workshop with Generation Z youngsters. We offer problems that can be solved through technology, for example, to protect the environment. For example, they use some ceramic vases, and they were filled with water and then buried in the ground. And in this way, it's a traditional way of watering the plants without any water waste. So it's using a very traditional system and using sensors to see how it works. And this is a very interesting solution for young people who want to have everything on their mobile phones. And with this type of things, we are not going to start a revolution in agriculture, but we are going to make agriculture and farming in general more appealing to the younger generation so that we can have a better generational replacement. And I know there was another part to this question, but I've forgotten. Oh, yes, it was about animal welfare. Well, of course, because very often we've been requested to automate farms, but that's not what we do. We have an educational goal, and we have also the objective of revitalizing the rural areas through workshops. And although I'm an industrial engineer and my partner is an electronic engineer, but that's where we come from, but we want to do something else.
Genial. Pues vale, yendo. Sí, ahora sí.
All right. So,
final, si pudieras lanzar un deseo,
what about your
antes,
wish list for the future of your projects?
¿Cuál sería?
Well, the intercommunity is one of our main challenges and goals. We would like to have, as I said before, 400 schools interconnected through a Telegram group, because very often there are schools that say that the families don't really contribute to the school activities, and we would like to overcome this type of barrier so that our project can help develop better the school community within itself and with other school communities.
En estos casos, ¿no? Porque es una pena que ocurran estas cosas.
También,
Just to recap, where
¿dónde podremos seguir un poco,
can
o no sé si habrá
we
como un poco la posibilidad de seguir
follow
el
your
proceso del
project
proyecto,
and the
del
whole
mismo, la
process on your
comunidad?
website or maybe on social media?
Bueno, intentaremos, y esto lo
Well,
digo porque
we are engineers and we're not that good at communicating. However, we'll try and update our website, and we do have Instagram and LinkedIn,
las cuentas son
and it's at voluta.coop, COOP. Sometimes we do post some
Genial,
news.
también va bien
Wonderful.
que lo
Thank you
digas, porque
for
así
letting
también,
us
pues,
know.
los asistentes o así,
In
si
this
alguien está
way,
interesado,
we
pues
can
puede
follow
empezar a
you
seguir si no lo
and we can
estuviera.
follow your progress
Y
and
eso,
follow
siguiendo un
your
poco
new
todo.
projects.
Y ya por último,
And we're going to end with
me
another
apetece
question by
si las
Anna.
semillas, ¿de qué tipo de plantas
The
son?
seeds
¿Verduras
belong to
aromáticas,
what
plantas
types of
flor,
plants?
árbol?
Eso es
Well,
algo que
we
todavía
haven't
no tenemos
defined that
definido,
yet,
pero lo
but
acordaremos
we are
con los
going
bancos de
to
semilla
agree
o
this
incluso
with the seed banks
con
and
los
with the
centros
schools.
educativos.
Once
Cuando ya nos estemos
the
acercando a la fecha,
delivery date gets closer, we will have
tendremos ya
defined
definido
then
las
the
semillas que
type of
utilizaremos,
seeds
ya
we're going to
dependerá de
use.
cada
It's
territorio.
always going to
Dependerá
depend
de las
on
necesidades de
the
cada
seed
territorio,
bank
de
of
la
each
disponibilidad que
territory.
tengan o de lo que ellos consideren. Nosotros
We
ahí
know
sabemos
a little
algo,
bit about
barruntamos algo, pero no
what
lo vamos a decir
may
todo.
be done,
Estaremos en
but
comunicación
it's the
con la
seed
gente de
banks who
nosotros.
have the last word.
Pero en cualquier caso,
But
nos
the schools will also be involved, of
si
course.
quieren,
We are not going to
no vamos a
say
decir
you have to choose these
los
seeds.
coles
The
tienen
schools
las
and
actividades
other
para
entities
ellos,
involved
la autonomía
are autonomous
ellos
to
deciden
decide what is best for them. We'll just provide them with different options.
Perfecto, Axel, pues
Thank you
no sé
very
si
much,
quieres añadir
Axel. I don't know
alguna
whether you'd
cosita
like
más.
to add anything. No, I just like to thank you for your invitation. I hope you enjoy the presentation. Yes,
Sí,
it
seguro
was
que sí,
wonderful,
nos
and
alegramos
thank you
y
very
nada,
much
también
for
eso,
being here with
bueno, ya lo
us
he dicho antes,
today.
pero por favor, si
And I would
podéis
like to
rellenar
ask all
el
the
formulario
participants
de
to fill in
satisfacción con
the
la encuesta, pues, con la
satisfaction
encuesta de la
survey. This
conferencia,
will
nos sería
be
genial.
very
Y nada, pues
useful for us.
también simplemente decir eso,
And
que
we
os invitamos también luego cuando
also
hagamos el vídeo,
invite
pues
you
lo podáis
to
visualizar.
watch the
Normalmente
video
también la gente que
later on
se ha
on
apuntado a la
our
conferencia, pues
YouTube channel,
recibe un correo con toda la información. También podemos añadir
and
otra vez
we
en este correo,
can
aparte del vídeo y en el
add
formulario de evaluación, pues
to
también
the email
los
we
links que
send to the
tú comentabas,
participants
bueno,
the
el de dissemination, por
links
ejemplo, y
that
alguno
you
más de
mentioned.
y pues
And
por mi
I
parte,
believe that's all.
eso,
I
no
don't
sé
know
si
whether
quieres
you'd like
añadir alguna
to add
cosilla más,
anything,
pero
Axel.
pues
I'd just
solo me
like
queda
to thank you
agradecerte tu
for
participación también en el
being here
webinar y
today and
el
for your
tiempo que nos
time.
has dedicado y todo.
Thank you.
Nada, a vosotras.
Así
Thank you
que,
very
bueno, pues
much,
muchas
everybody.
gracias a todos, a
And
todas y nos vemos
see you
en
at
un
the
próximo
next
webinar, que de hecho
webinar.
tenemos
We
uno
have
la
one
semana que viene, que
next
será
week.
sobre acuaponía. Así
So
que
we
nada, os
will
invitamos también
invite you
a
to join
apuntaros.
us then.
Y
Thank you
nada,
very much.
muchas gracias.